sponsors is out there at Enterprise. And
Okay, yes.
I'm like, oh, there's where it is. So I'll have to drive in there sometime and check it out.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, they shut it down, I'm going to say, February of 2022, I think, and it was shut down for like 6 or 8 months. They had extensive renovations, and they finally opened it up. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really is.
I almost wrecked the car. I was like, oh my God, that's the Enterprise.
I actually drove by yesterday and said, I need to go in there myself.
Oh, it's magnificent.
I just have a tiny little dog, and I've had a dog, a small dog, bitten in the past, so I get a little nervous. But I'm going to take him in there. He's a good dog, so I'll take him in there.
There's quite a few in there, and it's just a wonderful park for everybody. It really is. They did a fantastic job of it. So. Good evening. I'd like to call to order the special November 14th meeting of the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. My name is Patrick Rafferty. I'm chairman of the board. I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce to you the other members of the advisory board. On my far left is Angie Lonesome. Next to me is Jason Hood, who happens to be vice chairman of the board. To my right is Kelly Kelly. Tonight's meeting is a special meeting to get input from citizens relative to community uses or other uses of the Coachman Park or the Sound, but we are going to have an item for citizens to speak on items that are not on the agenda, as well as an update on the Parks and Recreation 15-year master plan. I was going to suggest that if there's a group of people that are going to advocate the same use for the park, rather than 4 or 5 or 6 people speaking on the same subject, maybe they could appoint someone to speak on their behalf so that everybody has a chance to utilize their 3 minutes to speak about what they think we should consider for the use of Coachman Park. There may be questions from the board as you make suggestions, and there might be questions from the Director of Public Parks and Recreation, Art Cater, who is here tonight. So the first item is, in fact, to hear from citizens regarding an item that is not on the agenda. If you would like to speak to an item that is not on tonight's agenda, please come to the podium. Let us know your name, and please restrict your comments to 3 minutes. So if anybody would like to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come forward. Yeah.
Hi, hello everyone.
Hello.
My name is Dina Ramos. I am the founder of the Clearwater Hispanic Farmers Market, and thank you for having me here. An item not on the agenda, I have several, so I might need to come back after for another 3 minutes. There is not many areas where in Clearwater where we can hold a community event, especially the size that we are pulling. And so I would like to ask the board to consider turning the passive area of Crest Lake Park into a parking area. There is a passive area. If you look at the map, there's the children's area, which you call the active area. If you look at the map, it's called the active area. And then you have the veterans, the dog park, you have the water spouts for the children, the playground, and on the far corner, I would say northeast, depending on what the northeast area of the park, there is a big, pretty considerable area, and in the map, the city calls it passive area. Nothing happens there. Nothing is done there. It's just a big, one big grass area. And so due to the fact that we need to serve our community, in a practical way, not to only have a pretty thing to look at, but we are practical in the things that we bring about, that serves the needs of the community, I would like to submit a formal request in the same way that the city developed an Imagine Clearwater plan restructuring all of this area. We need to bring a restructuring plan to provide for the growing community of Clearwater, because it's not going to diminish. It's going to keep on growing. And if we have, how many thousands of Hispanics and Latinos in Clearwater? It's only growing. And so we do love community. We love to come together. Community is family. Community is relationship. Community is belonging. It's not only going to the flea market and buying a little thing and going back home. No, it doesn't work like that. That's not community. It's not the community that we do. Not Hispanics. We stop and we talk and we build and we relate, and we form bonds of trust and relationships, and we know each other. 3 minutes are up. Okay, I'll come back.
All right. Art, would you like to make any comment relative to that passive area, because it was, designed and put together by the staff as the new Crest Lake Park, and perhaps there's an intention for that to be a passive area? I don't know.
Well, it was designed to be just that, a passive area. Actually, when the plans were made, we actually looked at a parking lot there and actually designed a parking lot there. The community had the input at that time and did not want a parking lot there because, again, it's close to a lot of neighborhood homes. And again, this is while it is a community park, it is also a neighborhood park surrounded by the neighbors, and at that time we made it a passive area rather than put a parking lot in there. We are looking at additional parking that perhaps is a block or so away from the park, or the possibility of purchasing some additional property that would allow us to have big activities within the park. But right now we're limited in our parking. However, the parking does accommodate what we have needs for on a regular daily basis. It would only be in a special event type situation where we'd need to have the additional parking.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like community events. Yeah.
Right.
So,
Okay.
So there are several places that we can have special events, and there are several that we can't. Simply, you have to have the amenities and the structure that's in place there to be able to handle the people.
right. We don't have any,
Okay.
pretty much. Any other questions?
I was just curious as to your suggestion for developing a parking lot in that passive area. Was that primarily as a result of, I noticed that the Hispanic community had their celebration in Crest Lake Park this year. Was parking a problem at that time for the number of people attending?
Absolutely.
So is that
Absolutely.
behind your suggestion?
We have a board members of about 12 people, and even though we just started doing community events with the city of Clearwater about 3 years, but that does not mean we started 3 years ago. We've been
Right.
doing community events in private properties for a very long time. So
Right.
we were just not out of the block in 2021.
Right.
And so the only thing is that because Clearwater doesn't have the facility to have community events, then we have to hold them at private properties, like churches and people that have the facility to open it. So definitely we did have problems with the parking space. Even the mayor, Chris, is very kind. Thank you, Chris, because he's very patient with us. And they did tell us not to park in the grass area. And point taken, absolutely.
Right.
But in spite of all the measures that we took, there were so many people that we were trying to detour on the other side. If you're familiar with Crest Lake Park, there's a mulch area that they granted us permission to park there. Then there's a sidewalk, and then on the other side of that sidewalk, there's another mulch area. So there were so many people, we trying to, go on the mulch area because
Right.
they said mulch area is okay. So they parked there. But still, there were so many people that we had, we believe, about 3,000. And there was not enough parking space.
Right.
So absolutely.
Have you already started to make plans for next year's event?
Yes, the city of Clearwater has approached us to ask us to partner with them for next year's.
And are you planning on using Crest Lake Park next year, or?
There's many factors that made that question, and we don't like Coachman Park much for the community event. We do agree to have it at the green area, but it's definitely not going to have the impact that we're looking to have. And that's why, because community is made of bond, trust, and credibility. And there is, please forgive me because I don't mean to be rude or offensive in any way, shape, or form, but the city of Clearwater does not have much credibility or bond trust among the Hispanics. And so pulling them to the Coachman is like going to the dentist for a root canal.
Yeah.
And we don't feel the community there, no. And so we did agree to have next year, but we feel like it's going to have a big impact on the turnaround of the event at that location. In real estate, you say location, location, location. How many of you are real estate agents? Location is extremely important. And so having it at Coachman Park, yes, we agree. But reluctantly, we believe that it might not have the impact that we're looking to.
Yeah, I recall at the last meeting that I believe yourself and a number of people from LULAC attended and spoke out. I got the impression that they were going to have the next event was going to be at the Green in Coachman Park. I got
That's what we
exactly what you'll be doing.
Yeah.
But I think your preference might be to say you're going to find out, but you're thinking it might be better to do it at Crest Lake Park.
Yes, but we understand because if, for example, I was just talking to Mr. Art, and we were just asking him if there would be a chance to hold the Hispanic Heritage event next year at DiMaggio, the baseball park at Drew, in Drew Street, 2459 Drew Street.
Right.
You know, that park has a huge parking area, and it also has a big open space. So if you please would consider, I mean, we are willing to even collect signatures if he goes that far. We go around and collect signatures and do that. But we need an open space. The thing is that we need to have the location is extremely important.
Yep.
And so I'm sorry. Yeah, we have, and we stick to our word. If it comes to that, we'll do it at the green area at Coachman. But I think the return, I will say, that you would get from this investment is by far greater than having it over there at Coachman.
Well, we've heard your concerns about the parking at Crest Lake Park, and we're quite aware that if the event is to be held there, parking is certainly something that's going to have to be discussed. So
yes,
we are aware
I also, if I may, I'm sorry, we did go out to businesses and we asked them, can you please allow us and grant us permission to park in your space, in your property, in your business place? And we have 4 different businesses that Bank of America grants us permission, Igasi Plastic Surgery, Advanced Auto Parts, and New Beginnings Community Church. Okay. The 4 of them, they all said, yes, you can park here. But if we do have the people that we expecting, it might go bigger than what we had in October. Right. We might need those 4 and another 4.
Okay. We will keep that in mind.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the audience that would like to speak on an item that is not on tonight's agenda? If not, we shall move on to the next item, which is new business items. 3.1, specifically designed for this this meeting, is to gather input from the public regarding programming for Coachman Park and the city's use of the sound. So if anybody would like to approach the podium and make some suggestions or recommendations to the board as well as to the Director of Parks and Recreation as to how best to use Coachman Park and the sound, now is your time to do that.
Hi, I'm Amanda Eland. I would be very interested to hear about why not Coachman. But anyway, so I am just trying to advocate for a gay pride celebration during the month of June. Is a bit hot, and they do it at in a different month in Orlando, so that could be interesting. But they have one in Tampa, they have one in St. Pete, but I just feel like Clearwater needs one, so I think Coachman would be a great place for that. Also, I don't know, you've probably heard lots of complaints, but bathrooms in Coachman is kind of an issue because there are only 2, period. So hopefully that can maybe be addressed at some point in the future.
Very good.
That's all.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public to speak on recommendations or suggestions for Coachman Park use?
I'm going to translate.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is Jesus Ren, and I'm the coach. I have, tengo un grupo de niños, de 90 niños casi, de basketball.
And the coach of the Little League is about 90 children that I have.
Quiero que haya competencias, que haya más canchas.
I would like Coachman to be a place for sport tournaments.
Queremos un gimnasio porque no podemos practicar como hoy llovió y los niños no pueden practicar para mejorar su práctica.
He would like to Coachman area to have a basketball court, right? And perhaps even a covered basketball court.
Mamás y papás queremos más apoyo para los hispanos en general. En cualquier evento que hagamos, nosotros estamos apoyando y queremos que nos inviten en cada evento que haya para que nosotros sepan que existimos y pagamos todo lo que necesitamos pagar.
We are 2 taxpayers, and in all the community events that are happens at the Coachman Park, we feel like there's no invitation for the Hispanics. It's all excluded. So we feel like we would like them to be part of it, to be more events that will involve the Hispanics, because parents.
Porque los niños quiero que sean abiertos, amables y que sean amigables con todo el mundo, que no vea la diferencia entre hispano y otro color.
If we want to teach our children to integrate, cultures, bypass, language, and so we want to teach our children that, to interact with other cultures and become, a bigger community in the place where we live.
Pues espero respuestas. Ya tuvimos una plática con el señor que está aquí.
We just had a conversation with Art.
En un evento que fue aquí en el
At an
Greenwood North.
At an event that we had in Greenwood.
I met you, yes.
Y él vio el impacto que hicimos con muchos niños.
And he was a witness of the impact that we had with the community, with the children in the community.
Papás, mamás siempre están con nosotros apoyando en el futuro de la comunidad de Clearwater.
Families were there, parents, moms, and dads were all there. The family was there, just causing an impact in our community.
Pues, gracias por escucharnos.
Thank you, folks.
I did have one question. If I'm not mistaken, during the grand opening week of Coachman Park, the Sunday of that grand opening week was Hispanic Heritage Day. Was he able to attend that with family and children? Because I went to that one myself on that Sunday.
I did too.
And I was curious as to whether he went, and was he aware of it, and did he attend it?
Julio, ¿usted estaba allí?
Sí, yo estaba ahí.
Yes, I was there.
El uniforme nosotros era de los Lakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tú eres Mexi Lakes, right?
Mexi Lakes.
Yeah. Our team, there was few teams in there, little leagues there, and ours had the logo Mexi Lakes, like his hat.
Okay. I think one of the reasons for having that was to, at the grand opening, reach out to the Hispanic community and let them know that they should also be part of what we're trying to do at Coachman Park. So I think that was an effort by the city to do that, and not the only time that they will do that. So we'll certainly keep that in mind to try and involve
So
them.
él quiere que tú sepas que el día de julio 2, cuando hicieron la inauguración del Coachman Park, eso fue un esfuerzo que hicieron para alcanzar la comunidad hispana.
Ok, gracias.
Any questions from any other member of the board relative to this? Okay. Thank you very much.
Una pregunta más.
A question, he says.
Busco un gimnasio para practicar,
We
en especial por los
desperately
niños.
Need
Estamos tocando puertas para que a ver.
covered gymnasium to have them practice. We need a place to practice, a covered gymnasium.
Please, please.
So we need, he says that they're knocking on doors of businesses, if anybody knows.
Okay.
For basketball, right? Basketball?
Basketball.
Yeah,
Very good.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Yep. Anyone else from the audience have a suggestion or recommendation for us to consider?
Buenas tardes.
Good
o
afternoon,
buenas
dile
noches.
su nombre.
Mi nombre es Anel Camargo y estoy pidiendo de favor que nos dejen hacer el evento para el domingo 19. Que esto es muy bonito. Yo tuve la oportunidad de participar.
I'm here to ask you to help us with the community event that we scheduled for November 19th.
En el evento pasado y estuvo muy bonito.
The event that we had in October was very beautiful.
Yo estuve vendiendo comida mexicana, que es
I
lo
was
que me
selling
gusta,
there Mexican food.
y pues todo estuvo muy bonito.
Everything was beautiful.
La gente estaba contenta y
People were
pues
happy.
a mí me ayudaron en mi economía
It was a help for my economy financially.
y parece que lo que yo pagué pues es para la comunidad, entonces yo estoy contenta
But
por
I
eso.
did, it was for the community, and I was very excited to see that community event.
Y me gustaría que nos diera la oportunidad de seguir haciendo eso,
And I would like to ask you to please consider us to allow us to keep doing community events.
porque también estoy enseñando a mis hijos a valorar el trabajo de su mamá
Because I'm also
y de
teaching
la
the children
comunidad, a participar en la
value
comunidad.
what it is to work together as a family like that, not only for our family but for the community.
Entonces ahora sí que les pido de favor si lo consideran para seguir haciendo el evento cada que se pueda, estaremos ahí apoyando a la comunidad.
So I would love for you to consider that you will allow us to keep on doing the community events because we'll be there.
Es todo. Gracias.
Which community event specifically was she very excited about, and where was it held?
She was referring to October 15th, the Crest Lake
The
Park.
Crest Lake Park one. Okay, I just want to make sure.
But there's another one coming up.
Yes, there is a community event scheduled for November 19th. Yes,
That's the one in-
we are having talks about the area for parking, and we understand that's why we first mentioned that about the passive area. In other Largo and Millis Park and other cities, they allow people to park in grass areas,
Right.
but not here. So that is a huge issue that you might have an impact in the turnaround of the event.
Right. Okay.
Es todo. Gracias.
That's all, thank you.
Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else from the public would like to make a suggestion or recommendation? And how about someone from the advisory board? Do you have any recommendations, suggestions? I asked that question because I have two, but I'll wait till the rest of you speak.
We're writing them all down, and we're keeping them on record, so go right ahead.
Okay. The idea that I had is very similar to the Hispanic heritage or the Hispanic celebration that we should do since they are such a large part of the city of Clearwater's community. And if it is going to be done in Coachman Park, my suggestion would be to see if we cannot include our sister city that we just aligned with in Mexico this year. Make them part of the event with the community of the Hispanic community in Clearwater. So I would reach out to them to see if they would like to participate in any way. Following that same theme, the suggestion I would make is that where possible, we consider ethnic-based events that we could have in the park. It could not be for each ethnic group that's here, but perhaps it could be the Italians, the Irish, the Greeks, whatever we could come up with would say that if your heritage is Irish or Greek or whatever, we want to celebrate that in Coachman Park. And one ethnic group may not be enough, so maybe we could do a number of ethnic groups together just to celebrate the widespread ethnicity of the city of Clearwater. Pick events to do it. And then the other thing I thought about, a couple people mentioned this to me, is that would it be possible that we would consider using Coachman Park for a not-for-profit community organizations event where they can publicize who they are, consider becoming part of their members and so forth, kind of like we did at the opening week of Coachman Park when a lot of groups were out there, saying who they were for and who they represented and if people wanted to join them. So maybe we could pick a time that would say, hey, not-for-profits can come and have a little demonstration of what they offer and what they do for the community and get other members of the community interested in it possibly. So those are my suggestions. Basically, not-for-profits and then an ethnic theme type celebration. And of course, I would be partial to St. Patrick's Day, but that would only be for us Irish. So.
Gotcha. Those are all good ideas. Thank you.
I would suggest something similar to how Largo does Central Park. They have a Christmas carnival, and they maybe not decorating all of the lights. Maybe not decorating with a bunch of lights, but at least having some sort of holiday carnival going on where tickets and vendors can open up with hot chocolate and winter-based snacks, and we can generate some money there and maybe have some music going and stuff like that. That might be a good option.
Good, a very good idea. I know that we are planning for some holiday celebrations in the park.
Right.
That Mr. Cook is planning, so we'll do something similar to that. Yeah. Very good.
That'd be great.
The only thing I would like to say is that whenever you add any events, whether it be ethnic events, Hispanic events, no matter what it is, it costs money. Mm-hmm. Okay? And so obviously, if people have money, they obviously can rent the park and do the events. Otherwise, people are looking for co-sponsorship or sponsorship, and generally it comes from the city. And the city only has limited amounts of funds. And so the issue is, just so everybody understands, these events do cost money, and they are budgeted, and we have a cycle to do that. We have a special event, actually ordinance that regulates that. So just so, and I know that you do know that, but it costs.
And I would suspect that you have received quite a number of suggestions, since this is not the only form that you've been getting them. So the real test will be going through all those suggestions and ideas and figure out which ones are quite feasible to be done. So I don't envy that at all. Any other comments from members of the board relative to this?
Also, one last thing in closing.
Yep.
We're closing this out. We are looking, Chris and his crew are looking at the possibility of starting a friends group, a Friends of Coachman Park. We've talked about that before here at this board, and we hope to start that in the first of the year. And basically, it would invite members of the community, all the community, wherever, that loves Coachman Park, that wants to share in the programming of Coachman Park, that want to go down and help us clean Coachman Park. Right. Those that really, kind of like the Friends of Moccasin Lake. Yep. Friends of Moccasin Lake they've been around since the park was really established. Yep. And so that's what we'd like to do with Coachman as well. So there'll be an opportunity for people to continue to be involved in the programming of that park.
Very good. So if there's no other comments or suggestions, we can move on to the next item, 3.2, which is a status update on the Parks and Recreation 15-year master plan.
Yes, I know you did get an update at your last meeting. However, we've had a meeting since then, and I was not able to be there, and I wanted just to give you a brief update on that and share a little bit more about that. The consultant held the final priority and visioning session with staff, and they're now finalizing their report and the final plan. There'll be one last meeting for the public, and hopefully it'll be held on December the 6th. I will get more information certainly to you to make sure that you all know about that, as well as the community, because this meeting is for everyone in the city of Clearwater. And it'll be basically a team meeting or, a Skype meeting, so anybody can join. We will record the meeting and the minutes and any conversation that is held during that time, so that if people cannot be at the meeting, they can then, go online at any time and get the results of the plan. They will be sharing some of the results and the objectives. I have seen some of the recommendations. They certainly listened to the public. They listened to you. And there are items that you have brought up at this board. The citizens have brought up at their meetings. And so I think you'll be very pleased with the results that we will hear about. That's basically, I just wanted to let y'all know and thank you all for your involvement in that and your part of being in that plan. Thank you.
Any comments or questions for Art regarding this item? Okay. Shall move on to the next item on the agenda, which is the director's report.
Right, and I just want to thank all the staff. I was not here at the last meeting. I had a medical condition I was dealing with, but I heard that the staff did a great job, and I just want to thank them, Michael Lockwood, and of course Chris, and the rest of the staff. I wanted the board also to be aware of the fact that we have applied for a FERDAP grant, that's a Florida Recreation Assistance Program grant, for $200,000 to improve Edgewater Drive Park. You're talking about parking. They don't have parking there. There's like 6 spaces. Basically, we would like to expand the parking lot by another maybe 10 spaces. That's about all we can get there. And also a dock or observation pier. And so we've applied for a $200,000 grant. And I just wanted you, since we won't meet until January, just to know that we have put that application in. And we have talked about that as one of our CIPs. And so I just wanted to let you know that. Also, the last thing probably is we are gathering information about the Plum House, the historical significance of the Plum House. As you may know, it is located at Ed Wright Park, and it is unfortunately in need of repair. It is basically having some difficulties there. The city do not own the house. However, the Clearwater Historical Society does. The city has allowed them to be on city property for that house. However, we want to look at either renovating it or just to see what can be done. So you'll be hearing about that in the January meeting. We'll have all the reports in by then, so I wanted just to give you a heads up on that. And I think that's it.
I did have one question that perhaps you could use this opportunity to tell the public and ourselves about the action that you were able to propose at the work session regarding the open space land near Moccasin Lake Nature Park. I think that would be good news for the board as well as for the public to hear that.
Well, I appreciate you bringing that up, Chairman. We have been very fortunate. We've been trying for many years to purchase a piece of property that's just north of Moccasin Lake Park. It's adjacent to Moccasin Lake Park, 3.4 acres. It has been the home to several emus and a lot of peacocks, okay? So anyways, the emus have been removed. We were successful in purchasing that property for appraised value of $600,000, and it will be added to the park. Hopefully closing will be December the 11th or 12th, and at that point in time, the city will own additional 3.4 acres that we've added to Moccasin Lake. It's a very beautiful piece of property. There's an open meadow area out there, and it'll be a great addition to the park.
And it's defined as open space
That's correct. Open space fees.
Exactly.
We can only spend them for land. I can't spend them for anything else, and they have to be spent for specific purposes, and this fits that very well.
What's happening with the emus?
An emu?
What is happening with the emus? Where are they going?
They were actually owned by the owner that was there. We purchased the property. It was in trust. There were 3 people in the family, and they finally got together and they decided to sell it to the city, and we told them, but we really don't need the easements. They needed to move them, and they did find a good location for them.
Okay, great.
Okay. Very good. Any other questions or comments from the board? We can move on now to each individual board members making whatever comments they choose, and we'll start with Marty at the very end.
I'm fine. No comments.
I probably should have asked this earlier. I just have a quick question about Forest Run Park. Are there any plans to include accessibility to the corner? Because a lot of parents use that, I send my son to school there, so I notice it happening a lot. A lot of parents use that parking lot to actually walk their children to school and avoid the school parking lot altogether.
We do, that is one park that needs to be renovated. It hasn't been done I think since it was put there. So it is on our schedule to renovate it. For example, the parking lot is in dire need of resurfacing, and we're looking at that and clearing out some additional area in that park. It's heavily grown, as you've seen.
Yes, I've seen it. I'm there every day.
We are aware of that, and hopefully something will be done within the next 6 months.
Okay.
But don't hold me to 6.
I've just been looking at the updates, and I don't see anything about it, and I just wanted to check and see what was being done, or what was planned for it, because I know you probably have plans for it.
Well, we hate for the residents to see that.
Yeah.
If they're seeing it, then we've already seen it.
Well, I just see a lot of parents normally cut across, like straight diagonally across the grassy area, and I don't know if it would be possible to increase put a sidewalk there from the parking lot directly to the corner where the crosswalk is. That way, they're not destroying the grass. And
As long as we meet ADA requirements, that's something that we could certainly look at.
Okay,
Okay?
that'd be great.
Very good. Jason?
I don't have anything else.
Kelly?
So the Mercado area, there's concrete on the Mercado area. I know some residents were concerned about having grass there. Is that, or was it the opposite?
The Mercado?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't. It's grass.
it's grass. So
Well-
were some residents wanting concrete?
The best I know right now, they had some difficulty they had bid that park out to get it constructed and opened at the same time that they're opening that area. However, unfortunately, something happened and it did not go that way, and they had to rebid the whole project. So I think they're either in the process of rebidding it, or, it hasn't come to the council yet for approval. But yes, there's going to be a plaza there with basically umbrellas, concrete sidewalks, planters, those types of things. Is that what is there that you know of?
No umbrellas.
Yeah. So anyways, that's what was planned.
Okay. And my second question is, do you have any update on Cooper's Point, the boardwalk that was planned? No, I'm real excited for that.
Well, I am too.
Okay.
The city's on that land, and the county, we're co-owners of that. And again, it's just a funded property. They're working on it. And
Okay.
That's in the environmental section. I'll give you an update on it if I can
Okay.
at the next meeting. Okay?
Okay. Angela?
Okay.
Okay. I want to mention two things, one of which came to my attention completely by surprise, but I understand that each of the Parks and Recreation centers, the day after Halloween, put out a notice that they would take any extra candy that residents had that was not distributed to the children for Halloween to bring them to the recreation center. And the recreation centers, all of them were going to prepare care packages to be sent overseas to troops of this candy, which I thought was fantastic. I heard about it at Countryside Rec Center, just having been told when I went there to work out. And I put the word up on Nextdoor, and a lot of people said they were going to come down there with their candy and so forth. So I wanted to congratulate whoever had that idea and the effort of the staff at each of the parks, each of the rec centers to do that. The other thing I'd like to mention is at our last official meeting, I had become involved in wheelchair-bound tennis players, and they had asked for some things to be looked at by Parks and Recreation for the McMullen Booth Tennis Complex. And we had a chance to discuss those and had some items that we were going to be following up on and so forth. But Mike was there at the meeting, chairing it for us, and I thought the cooperation and the initiative of Parks and Recreation to take a look at that and to make the McMullen Booth Tennis Complex more accommodating for wheelchair-bound tennis players. I had no idea of the interest and the fact that they were doing this until residents reached out to me and said, we'd like to talk to you about that. And now hopefully there will be some things done and some enhancements made that will accommodate these players that like to play tennis in their wheelchairs. Beyond that, I have nothing further. If there's nothing further from any member of the board.
Can I just,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
I thought that reminded me of something else. You know the water tower over by the Kings Highway Center? It's supposed to be coming down, that water tower. I was told 4 years ago, and told again 2 years ago. And
It's still up.
It's still up, so, so wouldn't that make a nice area, though, for a covered basketball court? I don't know, just a thought. I don't know if that's close enough to the Hispanic community, probably not, but I'm just trying to think of where that could go.
Yeah.
But just a thought.
Well, it's something, it is a thought, it's a
Yeah.
good thought, and I have heard the need. We've talked and shared about that. Unfortunately, we only have so many basketball courts in the city, none of which outdoors are covered at this time. The Pinellas County School Board has several of them, and unfortunately, they do not allow people to utilize them. Not only that, but they don't let them use the tracks or anything else that's there. So it is sad. But thank you for that suggestion.
Very good. And with that, we are adjourned.
Grab some